Welcome to the Cicero Regular Town Board Meeting on Wednesday, June 12th, 2024. At 6:30 p.m., please note there are two exits in the rear of the room and one to my right up here. And if you would, please silence your cell phones. And with that being said, stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. Like to speak on behalf of any of the agenda items?
Good evening. Just a couple of questions that if you can explain and when you get to them. The number 10, the share of Route 11 streetscapes, of 120,750. What was the full amount? Where?
When we get that.
Do you want to do it now or?
No, we'll do it when we get to the item.
Okay.
Thanks.
And then 11, this says a change order of number 3. I don't remember change orders number 1 and 2. Okay. And for that $100,000, where is that money coming from? And I had several questions on the abstract, but I will bring a copy and maybe you can get them answered for me. Thank you.
Come on up, Jay.
Folks, does this one work? Okay, very good. Turn that one off. Number 6, setting a town hearing to consider changes to Chapter 68 of the Town Code. Currently, as I understand it, 1 to 4 units are exempt, and there is a $500 per unit fee for larger developments to be allocated in a specific fund for parkland. I think I have that correct.
It's under 4 are exempt currently.
Under 4 are
So
exempt.
1 to 3 are exempt.
1 to 4,
It says under, it currently says under 4.
Does it? Okay. I would like to suggest you modify that. 1 to 4 units are not going to be a significant impact on anything else. The town of Manlius right now is examining granny flats and ADU units. It's just an extra junk fee really for somebody who is wanting to add a granny flat and accessory dwelling unit to their property. But that's totally different than somebody like Trey J. Lasso, Huber Brewer over there, or Montroy Development, which are developing the 96 units as proposed currently, as far as I can tell. Those folks really do need to offset parkland because they're putting units in a highly congested area, and that parkland is going to be much more important to those units. So I hope you extend that up to 4. If there's any vagueness in this, I read it as 1 to 4 units are exempt. You're saying that 1 to 3 units are exempt.
Well, and it hasn't been circulated yet, but as it happens, I was actually working on a draft of the local law today. I mean, if you recall from the changes to Chapter 210 that we made a few months ago, we included a new definition for apartment building, which is 4 or more units. And also, any exempt from that is a building that was originally constructed as a single family residence and later converted into multifamily. So as I've drafted the new local law, it will only apply to apartment buildings. So it will apply to 4 or more units that was purpose built or converted from a non-single family residence into 4 or more units. So
And-
that would address the concerns that you've raised.
And this is where we get into the secondary issue, which is the notification about these public hearings. Really, I would really encourage all of you to put out as much information as is possible with regards to these public hearings, so there's no misunderstanding. If you can say what you intend to do with them, it just really helps. If you had a communications director with the town who could do this, and really explain what's going on and put that out in social media. And as Supervisor Aragano mentioned about a year ago, he wanted to get into all those little social media groups that were out there and promote this information, and a communications director could do that. I could apply for that job. Just very briefly, I do have some comments at the end for the public input that are more general focus, but number 7, setting a public hearing to consider a local law pursuant to property tax law section yada yada to opt out of tax exemptions for certain energy generation and storage systems. Are you targeting people who have those 1 to 4 unit power systems in them? Again, there's very little information here, but it might be helpful if you are not targeting folks who might want to install a Tesla Powerwall 2 or 3, okay, with especially Tesla Powerwall 3 with its higher capabilities. It would be really, really helpful I think, to put that in the public hearing announcement. So that's my guidance for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else? Okay. Ms. Hogan?
Move for the adoption of a resolution to approve abstract number 23 dated 6/5/2024 and abstract number 24 dated 6/12/2024.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
All right, and I move the adoption resolution to reset the public hearing for Wednesday, June 26, 2024 at 6:30 PM to consider moratorium on the construction of certain types of battery energy storage systems. We had to put this off, waiting for the GML 239M response from the county, which actually came in today. But I mistakenly said June 19th instead of June 26th. So we'll continue the public hearing then and then vote on it.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Move the adoption resolution to reset a public hearing on Wednesday, June 26, 2024, 6:30 PM to consider changes to chapter 210 of the town code related to zoning enforcement. Same deal. We had the public hearing last time. Did not get the 239M response from the county on that one though. And just resetting this for the next meeting on June 26th.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Move the adoption resolution setting a public hearing for June 26, 2024, 6:30 PM to consider changes to chapter 68 of the town code in relation to fees in lieu of parkland. The purpose of this change is to remove the specific dollar amount set forth in 68-18.1, not 16.1. That's a typo because we amended that chapter and renumbered it last year so that the town board may alter the fee by resolution in the future.
Second.
Discussion,
Just briefly, we did this in 2018 and we set a specific dollar amount of $500 a unit, which we don't have for lots in residential subdivisions. That's that law, which I don't remember the number that actually it's later in this meeting. We'll be dealing with that. That just says it's going to be done by town board. Thinking about some of and after conversation with Ms. Roth last week about where we are in terms of capacity with the amenities we have at our current parks, baseball fields, softball fields, soccer fields, et cetera, and looking at the anticipated growth and the fact that most of these amenities are being used at or near their capacity, and the fact that we're probably going to need to add additional amenities, facilities, refurbish, replace, maintain what we have. It struck me that we should be, obviously, let me take a step back, all of us residents have an obligation to help pay for and maintain these facilities. But that said, because a lot of the driving force behind some of these upcoming needs is going to be this new development, this new population, it makes sense that the developers that are constructing apartments and residential subdivisions should take, for lack of a better term, a hit on building up a capital fund to make some of these improvements. And so we did this in 2018 and set it at $500 per apartment, which at the time was equal to what Lysander and Camillus were charging. DeWitt was charging $1,000 at that point. I found cases doing some research where there were towns smaller than Cicero and not on Long Island that were charging $1,500 back in 2003. But $500, at the time Clay was charging $50, which seemed incredibly low. But $500 in October of 2018, we passed this, it would be $620.97 in May of 2024. So it's a 24% increase. And I think that we should be raising it the bare minimum to cover the inflation between then and now, maybe more than that. And frankly, this is something that if inflation continues at this rate, maybe something that should become something we do as a matter of course, set it for the year at the organizational meeting so that we can keep up with inflation and make sure that we have the appropriate funds for capital improvements, the parks. So in any case, so we don't have to go back and do a new local law every time. That's what we're doing, just making it set by resolution of the town board.
Second.
Discussion. I think you already had a second. You already had a
Oh,
second.
sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
So keep going. Move the adoption resolution to set a public hearing for June 26, 2024 to consider a local law pursuant to real property tax law, section 487, to opt out of the tax exemption for certain energy generation and storage systems.
Second.
Discussion.
This is not targeting people getting these systems for single family residences. It actually came to mind when I was doing the work on the battery law. I don't know if we can carve out. I don't think we can carve out smaller uses. And I don't even know, honestly, if people apply for them, if they have a tax exemption, if they have a Tesla Power. I don't even know if they're aware of it or if they're eligible for it. But I do know that if anyone wants to build a large battery energy storage system, can we carve out, do you know?
Generally, our assessor takes the opinion that there's neither positive nor negative impact on assessment as a result. I would call it tier one system.
Okay. All right. But we certainly, if somehow someone manages to get the special use permit and everything else they would need to build one of the larger facilities in our town, we do not want them to have a tax exemption on that, just as we opted out of the tax exemption for solar and wind projects as well. So that's what this would do. The Department of State has a listing of towns and villages that have opted out. We have opted out of wind and solar, not the others on the official list. Yep. Most of the ones that have opted out of it are actually in rural areas because there's some kind of, you can use cow waste to generate energy. And so a lot of towns with a lot more animal-based agriculture than us have opted out of it to avoid people getting big tax exemptions based on that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Move for the adoption of a resolution to approve increasing the hourly pay rate of Colin Debajon from $16.50 to $17.25 and the hourly pay rate of Kyle Debajon from $15.50 to $16.25, and for this to be retroactive to their May 20th, 24 start date.
Second.
Discussion.
If you could just explain, because I know that we've already went through all of the increases last time, so if you could just kind of explain where this one's coming from.
So in this year's budget for the beach attendants, we had them starting at $16 an hour. That was approved. And these two, I don't know how we missed it, but anyway, they did not get that increase. So I don't want the seasonal laborers to make less than the beach attendants. So this brings them in line. So everyone starts out at 16.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
No, that's for the apartments.
We have to approve, correct?
Correct.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wish to vote no or abstain, passed.
Move for the adoption of a resolution to hire Cole Kalfas as recreation attendant day camp at an hourly rate of $15.75 to start on or about June 28th, 2024.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Approve Barbara Shreezia, part-time deputy town clerk hourly rate. Move for the adoption resolution to approve the clarification of the hourly rate for Barbara Shreezia, part-time deputy clerk in the amount of $20 per hour effective May 1st, 2024 per the approved budget amount that was inadvertently not on the 2024 organizational meeting.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Move for the adoption of a resolution approving ARPA funds in the amount of $120,750 to budget line 050-6989-4600-0000 for the town share of the Route 11 Streetscapes PIN 3950.77. The project funding agreement was approved by the town board on August 9th, 2023.
Second.
Discussion. Kate, I think Judy had a question about the funds.
Okay, yeah, so that $120,000, it was approved to spend it. It just was inadvertently left out of the budget. So when our new comptroller came in, they were just doing good housekeeping and they wanted it properly added into the budget. And then with discussions with you guys, it was to come from ARPA funds. So that's just officially putting it into the budget. Correct, Trey?
Had that already been deducted from our accounting of the ARPA funds, or we should consider the ARPA funds to be $120,000 less than we already thought?
Correct. Less. Because you took it out of the budget.
It was originally in the budget and then as a draft, and then with the final budget, it wasn't in. And
I
so-
recall that. I just wasn't
Yeah.
sure if it was accounted for in the
Okay,
latest accounting of ARPA funds.
okay.
I'm not,
Can't
my
say.
issue is not the use of ARPA funds for that purpose. My issue is the fact that it wasn't accounted for when we were giving an accounting of what was remaining. That's my issue. Okay.
Well, no, we're all right. We're all right.
No, yeah, just,
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Approve change order for Route 11 Streetscapes construction. Move the adoption resolution to approve change order number 3 for the US Route 11 Streetscape improvement to Barrett Paving Materials, Inc. for $100,000 and approve the supervisor to sign all related documents.
Second.
Discussion. Kate, you want to comment on?
Oh,
number
sure,
one?
to answer Judy's
Sure,
questions.
sure.
So on August 9th last summer, we entered into the local project agreement with the New York State DOT. That was for 2.603 million. When the project went out to bid, it came in at 2.17 million. So we had 435,000 extra. 300,000 went to CNS engineers for their construction phase services. We have $135,000 left. So that change order, so there was change order 1 for 17,000, which was on an agenda. Change order 2 was not on an agenda because it was a no cost change order. So didn't have to go on. This is change order 3. It also wraps in just extra money because once it goes over the bid amount, it has to go through some paperwork with New York State DOT. So they took more by taking 100,000. The money's there. Our money is still, we owe the 5%. So of this whole project, Town of Cicero is funding 5%, which is that $120,000 we were just getting on the budget. So did that answer it, Judy, for you? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Move for the adoption of a resolution for the town board approval to have coat top the driveway parking areas with a micro paved seal in the amount of $54,245.70 from ARPA funds.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Move for the adoption of a resolution to approve the amendment to the sporting license agreement for the transition to plain paper sporting licenses entered into between the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation and the Town of Cicero per the attached agreement, and to authorize the license issuing agent and department signature to execute the agreement.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Approve the fireworks for Greater Oneida Lake Chamber of Commerce to be held on July 3rd, 2024. Move the adoption of resolution that the town board approves and authorizes the supervisor to execute the fireworks permit from the Northern New York Display Fireworks Majestic Fireworks, Inc. to be held at the Oneida River South Shore, Bartell Road, Brewster, New York on July 3rd, 2024 at approximately 9:45 p.m. and to accept the $100 permit fee sponsored by Greater Oneida Lake Chamber of Commerce. All acquired signatures have been obtained.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Move the adoption of resolution clarifying the following resolution from the Cicero Town Board meeting on May 22nd, 2024, approving the submission of a consolidated funding application to provide funding to modify the draft local waterfront revitalization program for the hamlet of Brewerton to include the entire Oneida Lake waterfront and the portion of the hamlet of Bridgeport located within the town of Cicero. If awarded CFA funding, the town will have a 25% match of the project costs.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Move for the adoption of a resolution to purchase 10 14-inch touchscreen Chromebooks from the CityRec in the amount not to exceed $4,000. And that I believe will be from ARPA funds.
Correct. It was.
Second.
Discussion.
These are going to be for the use of all of the various boards, ZBA, planning board, town board, not take home, so we can have them up here. So we'll be able to access agenda items, to be able to access the agendas, email, shared drives, materials that perhaps people have come in to show us when someone comes in, you know, making a PUD application or zone change application.
Site maps.
Site maps, yeah. So again, these are going to be shared by all of the various boards, plus their ad hocs, and then having a spare. It's nothing, they're not take homes. So when we come in, they'll presumably be set up here. And I think it'll be a very useful tool to have.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No abstain. There's an addition to the agenda apparently.
Yeah, this was
Something I'm
not,
sure
this,
why it-
yeah, it was on the initial draft. I don't know why it was omitted, but that's, let's get to it. Move the adoption of resolution to raise the subdivision fee in lieu of parkland authorized by Town Code Section 185-37 and Town Law Section 277 sub 4 sub C from $500 per lot to $2,500 per lot. Such sum to be assessed by the planning board and paid by the applicant or developer upon subdivision approval.
Second.
Discussion.
So similar to what we just did for the apartments, this is something we're allowed to do by resolution. And looking at what other towns around the state do, $500 I think was very low. There's no reason it needs to match the apartment amount. And I think there's a lot of reasons why it shouldn't. You know, with residential real estate construction costing $300 plus dollars a square foot, and you're looking at $600,000 for a modest 2,000 square foot home, which seems insane. You know, adding a $2,500 fee that the developer has to pay upon subdivision approval, it just doesn't seem like a lot. They can afford it, and so can the apartment developers. And again, we need to improve our parks. They're great, but they're going to be seeing increased use. And the cost for us to do that has gone up, just like all of our costs for gas and groceries and clothing and everything else has gone up. And so we should be shifting these expenses as much as we can to the people that should be paying them, because they'll be increasing the burden.
I think what this will do too, is kind of slow the developers down into making the correct decisions instead of just quickly paying the $500 fee, quickly making decisions that are going to be making themselves more money. So this is really to protect our public and our land, to make sure that it's being used wisely and these decisions are intentional by these developers and not quickly rushing to help them make a lot of money.
So,
That's it. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed. Discussion. There's a ribbon cutting tomorrow night. Teresa, you want to talk about it?
The grand opening of the splash pad and new playground is scheduled for tomorrow at William Park, beginning at 4 o'clock. We have some giveaways and entertainment and food vendors and demos and things like that. 5:30, we're going to have remarks, some recognition by some folks. And then we have our first summer concert beginning at 6 o'clock, the Barn Dogs. Everyone's invited. That's 6 to 8, again, at William Beach Park. Tomorrow also is the kickoff of the food truck rodeo that's going to be happening every Thursday night in the CNS school parking lot from 4 to 8. Tomorrow is also, there's like a picnic gathering at the senior center to kick off their new pavilion, the grant they had in the new pavilion opened. So that's going on, and Biblo's food truck will be there at lunchtime. If anyone wants to go grab lunch, they can. What else? We have the 25th anniversary of the canteen celebration on Thursday night, the June 27th. That's open to the public. Starting at 4, goes till 7 o'clock. And I can give you a quick update on pickleball. It's moving along. They're scheduled to do the lining and striping of the courts. The fences went up, the hydro seeding has happened. It's pretty much done except for the striping, and that is supposed to start next week. Then we'll have a couple benches to put in and some final landscaping. But that's going on, and yeah, there's a lot going on. A lot of our summer programs are all kicking off here in the next couple of weeks as well.
And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't our portion of what we had to pay and spend on the splash pad, didn't it come from the fund that we're talking about, the 277 fund?
The playground portion of it.
Playground portion, yeah.
Yeah, the
That's a
SAM
perfect
grant.
example of
Yeah, yeah.
What we need this kind of thing for.
Yeah, the 277 account, the reserve park fund usually goes for like playgrounds or, yeah, definitely park enhancements. So, yeah, zero money came for the splash pad. That was totally paid for by the SAM grant.
Yep.
A portion of the playground project was paid for by the community development grant. And then the rest of it was, from the 277 account. Yeah.
Why it's important to have these fees.
Yeah.
so
And
that we can
our
make those
match for the
decisions.
pickleball is from there as well.
Yep, there you go.
Thank you for all of your hard work with all of these projects.
Thank
I
you.
know you do a lot.
Thank you.
Is there a way that we can notify our like athletics department about the food truck? Because I think that would be a great way to kind of get a lot of the spring sport teams together. I know a lot of them are going out to ice cream after practices. I didn't know if there was a way of contacting like CNS youth sports, like baseball, lacrosse.
For the Thursday night.
For the
food
food
trucks.
trucks.
I gave it to them actually
Okay.
to go out, and hopefully they're gonna put it on the kiosk.
'Cause I haven't heard it from the other end. I've heard it from you and from the town end, but I haven't heard
Oh,
it as a
okay.
parent of kids in youth sports. So if there's something that we could do to try and
For
encourage
athletics,
that
okay.
for athletics, because a lot of them are kind of kicking off their spring sports. So they're doing a lot of like get-togethers, team bonding type of thing. So I think it
Okay.
would kind of be a win-win.
Awesome, thank you.
Anyone else? We had our first public meeting up in Brewerton last night for the or the New York Forward grant. That was a great turnout. A lot of public input, so that was nice to see a lot of the folks up there. Anybody else? No? Okay, let's open up the public input. We will be going to an executive session tonight after this.
Hi, Jay Reardon again. Counselor Hogan, with all due respect, $2,500 ain't gonna slow any developer down. It's a 30-second phone call saying that the town council just imposed this $2,500 fee per unit. I could call my clients right now and say you have to pay it, and it ain't gonna slow anybody down. With all due respect, thank you. Counselor Carp, I did research that just in the interim. It does currently say less than 4 units. The problem is that with 1 to 4 units, it's a different ballgame. When it comes to real estate, the financing is entirely different. The financing products are entirely different. It's considered residential. When you go to 5 or plus units, then it's considered commercial. The financing and the building codes are significantly different. If that could be corrected in your new draft law, that would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, just considering the way it would interact though, because it's an apartment building, that would have to be RMX, which would probably put it in the commercial realm anyway, wouldn't it, due to the codes?
But yes, in the town board world and maybe, but you're going outside the established bounds of what is residential versus what is commercial, okay? And it's just gonna screw everything up because everybody's gonna have different expectations. And they're gonna just assume that best practices indicate that there are regulations for 1 to 4 units and there are regulations for 5 or more units. And honestly, Councilor Carp, how many 4-unit buildings are there in Cicero?
Well, I don't think you're going to see very many. I mean, your
Yeah.
I appreciate your comments. I'll certainly look into it. I mean,
Yeah, please do.
Yeah,
please
absolutely.
do.
Of course.
And, you know, when we're talking about these park funds, I urge you all on this town board not to underestimate the future potential of Cicero. You're the crown jewel. You have the lake. None of these other communities next to Micron have the lake. Alan Olmsted is advertising his property over there on 31 across from the Circle K, minutes to Micron, he says on the sign, minutes to Micron. Okay? But you have the lake and you have greater accessibility to 81. You have greater accessibility to Syracuse, you have greater accessibility everywhere than everybody else does. A fee of $5,000 per apartment or $7,500 to $10,000 per single family unit is not out of line considering the circumstances, especially if this parkland fund were extended to go beyond a parkland fund to a community parkland and community pride and promoting Cicero fund. Okay, because that's what they're paying for. When they pay that $5,000 for the condo, or the developer pays that $5,000 for their apartment unit, or the single family homeowner pays that $7,500 to $10,000. They're getting what is it? 8, 9 parks? How many do we have here? 8 parks, 8 parks, and in Williams Beach. And they are getting the crown jewel of living near the Micron site.
I agree with what you're saying. I would just point out, though, that we don't have, towns being a creation of the state constitution and statute, we don't have plenary taxing power. So what we're allowed to spend these fees that we're allowed to charge on is limited pretty strictly by state law. So it has to go, I mean, the law that authorizes us to charge it specifically says it has to go in segregated funds in a separate account. Only aside, I think we're pretty much, because it's in lieu of the developer setting aside parkland, we have to limit it to park. It could be buying a park, it could be building buildings at a park or making improvements to a park, but we can't extend it to community promotion or anything like that.
No one of any political stripe or party or affiliation would dispute that you are an excellent lawyer, Mr. Jonathan Karp, and you can make this happen to the maximum benefit of the town. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Anyone else? Okay. With that being said, we will move for the adoption resolution to enter into the executive session involving medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation.
Second.
And we'll invite Robert Jermaine. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Our intention to reconvene.
Yeah, we will reconvene. Yeah.
I seconded it, yeah. Mike Marizio. One of the mics.
All right, move the adoption of resolution to approve a settlement and release agreement by and between, yeah. Okay, move to reconvene.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Why name the, no, I didn't think so. I don't name the employee, right? Move the adoption resolution to approve a settlement and release agreement, by and between a town employee and member of CSE Local 1000 and the town of Cicero related to, terms of employment and resignation. Members of the town board each have a copy of the agreement. It has been reviewed and discussed with council in executive session.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vote no or abstain, passed.
Move to adjourn?
Yes, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.